Hello, my name is Jari Lavonen and I'm very happy to answer the questions after my presentation in South Korea. So the first question was dealing with the students who have difficulties in learning behavior or attitudes, how we handle those students in our classrooms. So first, I'm now looking a little bit more broad about special needs students. And special needs students in our context means that students might have difficulties in learning behavior, attitude, and how to take this variation in students' learning or attitudes or behavior. So the main idea in our system is the early intervention. So we are aiming to recognize the challenges as early as possible, and even in kindergarten level, and then to find a support that is really according to the need of the students. And we have 3 levels in our support. The first level is general individual support, which is for all. So all students are supported according to the needs, the guidance and support in learning difficulties. The enhanced support is something that is given to the students who have been really recognized, officially recognized to have needs. And special or intensive support is available for the students who have challenging needs and challenging difficulties in learning behavior or attitudes. So this general is for all. There is about 9% of the population in enhanced level support and 10% in special. So about 20% of the students receive specific type of support for their learning behavior and attitudes. So in every school we have a student welfare group which is looking for the best solution for each student who have difficulties. And the principal is the chair, and there are social workers, so psychologists, nurse, counselors, and teachers, special need teachers, especially in this group. And I will say something more specific about these different levels. And it is also possible to of course, move from one level to another, but also come back if the challenges have been solved. You are able to come back to the previous level. So the general support is for all, and especially the positive school culture we are aiming to establish. And all teachers are special need teachers. So every teacher should learn the basics of the special need education. Many forms according to the needs, and cooperation between teachers and parents are also important issues. For Finnish parents, it is not a negative issue that a student is recognized to have a special need. Everybody understands that it is the way how the challenges are overcome. The enhanced support, there should be a pedagogical assessment, and it should be recognized what is the challenge in this case. The individual study plan is made and systematic support is available. And personalization of the learning is important in this level. And then we are monitoring how well this support is supporting student, and if students is able to overcome the challenges, he or she can come back to the basic level. And special intensified support is given if there is a decision made by officials based on the welfare group recommendation. There are a lot of discussions with the families, and students have an individual learning program, and there are many type of arrangements organized, and of course the assessment is important, that it's also possible to go back to the previous level from this level. So all teachers are active in all levels of education in recognizing the challenges, and they have to learn in initial teacher education the skills needed in special education. They should be able to recognize the individual needs They should be able to collaborate with other teachers, parents, and the pedagogical assessment is important in order to recognize the challenges and in order to recognize if the students are going back to the previous level. And personalization of the learning could be made by personalizing the content of the learning process or the product. It's not necessary that everybody is learning the same content. It's not necessary that everybody is making the same outcome. This is possible in our decentralized education system. We are not having centralized testing. So the assessment is according to the somehow students possibilities and special need status and that kind of things. In Finnish classroom, quite often we are having team teaching. Teachers are easily putting two classes together. So there are two adults in the classroom. And in this example class, there are two teachers and one special need teacher. There are 4 students who have difficulties in behavior and learning. And the learning quite often happens in this kind of classroom, the small collaborative groups, and students are supporting also each other. And because there are 2 teachers and one special need teacher, the one teacher can more focus to the special need students and encourage and support his learning. And it's quite well accepted by students that this type of learning is supportive for all. And the slogan this Finnish teacher is saying that it's not necessary that pupil is ready for school, instead the school should be ready for the pupil. The second question was about what efforts do teachers make to improve their professionalism. So the question is about teachers' professional learning. My answer, so there is a lot of research in teachers' professional learning and professional development projects. And summarizing here 4 main characteristics. The long-term nature is important, teachers' active role in their professional learning, connection to the classroom or contextualization of the learning, and collaboration and reflection within the professional learning activities. So these research-based outcomes of the professional learning are very much discussed in our national level and local level meetings. So it's important that teachers understand that how they should be participating in the professional learning activities in order to learn new issues, the content or the pedagogy, whatever they are aiming to learn. So the basic idea in our professional learning or professional development projects, in-service training is that the municipalities are responsible. So the municipalities, they are offering education in the municipality or city, and they are also supporting teachers. So it is also decentralized. We have an induction phase, so the early stage of the teacher career. We have educated mentor teachers who are organizing group mentoring for new teachers and supporting the early stage of the teacher career. For example, the Verme is one example of our collaborative network, which is supporting municipalities in educating the mentor teachers who are supporting the young teachers in the early stage, early career. The teachers' professional development projects are common, how teachers are supported in professional learning. As I mentioned, it's municipalities are responsible and teachers have to participate at least 3 days per year to the in-service education or professional learning. And in addition, in Finnish schools, every teacher have to participate 100 hours official planning meetings. And there are many ways how these 3 days 100 hours are organized, but basically the municipalities organize communities for learning, short in-service training courses, and professional learning is supported in many ways. Teachers' pedagogical associations are active in organizing support for teachers' professional learning, meetings, and seminars. And Finnish National Agency for Education is responsible for organizing training for those education policy issues, which are important in education policy. Finnish teachers are active voluntarily participating in service training. So in addition to these 3 days in primary education, 80% of the teachers are voluntarily participating. In upper secondary school, 90% are participating. In vocational, a little bit less. But this is very characterizing phenomenon. Teachers are willing to learn new things, and they are, as a part of their professional identity, they are willing to participate in professional learning activities. The networks are nowadays very important way how teachers are supported. There are official networks, but there are also voluntary networks of teachers in school level, district level, and national level. And in one research paper, Hannele Niemi introduced examples of effective networks, the school community level networks, and also the how they are supporting teachers in innovative activities at the school level. The local curriculum work is important for teachers' professional learning. Every teacher have to participate at the school level or municipality level activities while the local curriculum is constructed. And there are many research publications related to the teachers' learning within those curriculum work activities. And 30-year experience we have that teachers are participating in those projects. And then there are examples of the networks. One is Innokas network supporting for innovative education. Teachers from 100 municipalities are participating in this voluntary network, and they are organizing meetings. They are emphasizing the learning of 21st century competencies, robotics and coding, innovation, innovative invention pedagogy. They are emphasizing this network. They are also making consultations and supporting in many ways for teachers. Luma network is for science and math teachers. It's organized by all Finnish universities, so it is kind of more official than Innokas network. And teachers are supported through different kind of training and meeting and visits to the research laboratories, and many type of activities are organized by Luma. And one important characteristic is that the teachers who are in pre-service teacher education, they are active in participating and organizing also the training for teachers. One of new innovation is tutor teacher model. The idea that the government was giving money for educating tutor teachers, especially for using digital tools in teaching and learning. And then those tutor teachers, they have less lesson hours than other teachers in the classroom, and they are going to the classroom of the other teachers and supporting the teaching and learning, especially with digital tools. And this was happening before the COVID, and Finland was quite happy that we have those tutor teachers who were able to support teachers in changing from the traditional teaching and learning to the distance mode. I hope that I have given a picture that it's easy to recognize how those research outcomes related to the teacher's professional learning are taken into account in our activities. They are very contextual, they are supporting teacher collaboration, reflection. The challenge is, based on my understanding, is the initial phase, so the induction phase. Even we have mentors, we have educated in my university and many other universities, still there is a lack of support for teachers who are starting the career. Another challenge is the decentralized system, that if we have at the governmental level, we have important education policy aims, it's not so easy to implement to the classroom because every municipality is organizing the learning. And new directions is, we call it continuous education. The universities should take more responsibility in supporting teachers in the professional learning. And this is more flexible, more university-based, more research-based activity in future. That's a new orientation. And the last question was about secondary teacher education, what kind of courses we have. So basically, the secondary teacher education, it is the common joint activity at the university. So my faculty, Faculty of Educational Sciences, and other faculties, altogether 7 faculties, are active in secondary teacher education. They take the studies in the subject in different faculties, and pedagogy at the Faculty of Educational Sciences. So it's a joint program, 5-year program, 4 years in the subject and 1 year in the pedagogy. And in a nutshell, here are the study credits on the U-axis, and here are the vertical axis. There are the studies, major subject like physics, minor like mathematics, and pedagogical studies. In bachelor level, the students are taking studies in the subject at the Faculty of Subject. In master level, they come to the pedagogical studies and take the rest of the major subject. 60 credit is 1 year studies. So the pedagogical studies is 1 year, minor is 1 year, and this is more than 2 years. And then some communication language studies. Teaching practices inside pedagogical studies is 1/3, and then research orientation is pedagogical thesis, bachelor thesis, master thesis. The pedagogical studies, these 1 year studies in pedagogy, they are supporting student teachers to integrate the subject knowledge and pedagogical knowledge, kind of personal pedagogical theory or view. The students can become aware of different dimensions. They learn to collaborate, they learn to reflect for in and on action. The idea is kind of autonomous professional in planning, implementing, and assessing on teaching and student learning. And also the willingness and competence for kind of potentials for professional learning when they are working at school. The pedagogical studies could be divided to 4 types of activities. So the general courses in education, subject pedagogy, educational research, and teaching practice. There are courses for psychology, special need, so also the secondary teachers should learn something about special need education, as I mentioned in the beginning, and historical basis and social basis for education. And then there are subject-specific pedagogy, methodology courses, as it is said in many countries. So the planning of the teaching and learning, teaching methods, and evaluation or assessment of the teaching and learning. Then we have this research methodology studies and minor thesis in pedagogy, and then teaching practice, which is divided to 2. Kind of basic teaching practice and advanced teaching practice, and reflective activities. So I was especially asked about the courses. So this is an example of one course. It is the first course in subject-specific pedagogy or pedagogical content knowledge, 10 credit course, so 1/6 of the year. The students should learn about designing of teaching, learning, and taking into account the curriculum in a broad view, not only the subject-specific area, research on teaching and learning, and the epistemological or ontological issues related to the subject and learning of the subject. And they develop different kind of readiness, school as a learning environment, basic values of education, versatile teaching methods and digital tools, social situation at school, and teacher profession is the aim to develop. Another example, the psychology of development and learning, so the students become familiar with the development of an individual and a group, and what are the psychological characteristics in those, and also identify the special characteristics of different groups. The basic teaching practice and advanced teaching practice, 1/3 of the year. So in the basic level, they plan and implement teaching on the basis of the curriculum, and mentor teacher is important person in this basic practice. In advance, they are planning more independently the teaching and learning. Another example of the aims, they use different teaching techniques and justify the decisions, and they use teaching methods, of course, but also learn how to evaluate students' learning and own teaching. They give and receive feedback. They set new goals in professional development of themselves, and they reflect for, in, and on their teaching. It's more versatile reflection. So there is a kind of progression within the aims. I made maybe more than 10 years ago, I made a comparison with the pedagogical studies in Helsinki and in Seoul National University for science teachers. This was made together with Byung-Chang Kim. And we just look for the aims in pedagogical studies, what kind of aims there are. Korea is in red color and Finland is in blue color. The reflection in both countries, there are a lot of, these are the number of aims, so it's somehow how much it is emphasized. So the reflection is emphasized in quite similar way. So the research, in a similar way, we are emphasizing how to make educational research, but we had more aims for consuming educational research. The nature of school practice about the similar way. The teacher attitude and education reality, that they were emphasized in South Korea more than in Finland. Designing instruction based on the nature of science and use of ICT in learning, in Finland a little bit more. And the role of education in the society, this kind of historical and philosophical basis for education in South Korea more. And I think this is the biggest difference, that in Helsinki we have aims for special needs, but in South Korea curriculum for pedagogical studies there were no aims for special needs students, how to support them. And planning, teaching and assessment in South Korea more than, but anyway, this is very much emphasized in pedagogical studies. The comparison is not easy because how long is the pedagogical studies and how it is organized, and so it's not so easy to make this kind of comparison. But this gives some outcome of the comparison, and it was 10 years ago. It's not new comparison. There are also courses at the Department of Subject in history, in mother language, and this is examples of the master level courses in Department of Physics. So they are given in master level, they are not given in educational sciences, they are given in physics, but they are very much focusing to the teaching and learning of physics. So what are the concepts and structures in physics, classical physics and modern physics? Structures and processes of school physics, experimentation in school lab, history and philosophy of physics, physics teacher masterpieces seminar. there is this 40 credits. It's quite much in the Faculty of Science they are given, and in chemistry they are having master courses, central areas of chemistry education, chemistry as a discipline, practical work, school lab, and seminar in chemistry education, models and visualizations. But it's not only the question what is the courses like. I think it's important in teacher education that we are also thinking how the courses are organized. And this kind of learning in a small collaborative group, it's very common in teacher education. And also the flipping, students are learning the theories before they come to the classroom, and then they are working with the topics. So this is from the mathematics department, how they are guiding students for learning together. And the teacher is scaffolding the processes. Here is the teacher, and another teacher also. And they are doing mathematics. They are learning through making math. And if I analyze shortly what is the pedagogy, so the aim is to engage students in learning through putting students' ideas in the center and following the knowledge practices in the area. So they were doing mathematics knowledge practices. Artifacts are important. They are drawing an artifact. They are discussing about the topics around the artifacts and collaboration. Scaffolding by teacher and project-based learning, phenomenal learning, inquiry, education are examples where those 4 ideas are important. So these were my answers to the questions, and if there is still some questions, I'm very happy to answer them, and thank you for asking those questions. I think they are relevant and they were important to discuss later on. So thank you, and have a nice spring semester there in South Korea.